Okay, this is the movie review for Stoker. Now this movie is a bit older. It came out in 2013. This was written by Wentworth Miller, and back when Prison Break was really big, like right after it ended, the season finale and everything, well actually after the movie, I was just like really into Wentworth Miller. He was great, he was awesome, you know, I wanted to see it. I saw The Loft, which I guess I could do a movie review on that too. But anyway, so I had heard about the talks for this. He would mention it in interviews that he'd written a treatment and everything, and that he was in meetings and stuff like that. So when it finally came out that Stoker was being made, I was really excited. I was stoked. I wanted to see it. However, it was released so limited that I never got the chance to see it. And then with my attention span and my memory, I completely forgot all about this movie. Well, as I was scrolling through to see what to watch and stuff, I came across Stoker again and was like, oh, you know, awesome, like, Stoker, I remember that. Like, I recognized the name, so I was like, I remember that. And then when I realized what it was, again, Wentworth Miller is the one who wrote the movie, or at least the treatment for the movie. I was there. I was like, yes, I want to see this. So, forgive me for my pronunciation of this name. It's got Mia Wasikowski in it. She plays India Stoker, the daughter. And then it's got Nicole Kidman in it. She's playing Evelyn, the mother. And then it's got Matthew Goode. I think that's how you say his name. So he plays Charles. Now those are the important characters. It's also got Dermot McDillon, but he's not actually like in the movie. He's got a very, very small part because, don't worry, this isn't a spoiler. I know it sounds like one, but it's not. He's actually dead. So he doesn't really have that big of a part. It's like flashbacks here and there and stuff like that. However, just to point out really quickly, I find it really funny that Dermot McDillon is in Stoker and Dylan McDermott is in Stalker. I'm sorry, but that's hilarious to me. So anyway, that being said, those are your main characters in the movie. The rest of the characters are, they're really just supportive and they don't particularly matter. If I keep looking down, I'm looking at my laptop so that I can make sure I get the names right, because as you guys know, when I do my movie reviews, I always forget everyone's names. So this way I can get the character names right and I don't flub it like I always do in my movie reviews and have you leaving all confused. Alright, so anyway, the premise of the movie is basically, let's see how to explain this without giving too much away. Charles comes in, and it's India's brother. He comes in for the funeral when Matt dies. I mean, not Matt, when, see? I already did it. When Dylan McDermott dies. And he dies, like, in the very, very, like, 2 minutes of the movie. So I didn't give anything away. So after the funeral and everything, like, he comes in and is like, I'm your Uncle Charlie, like, let's hang out, basically. So he's been, like, away on business and, like, traveling and stuff like that. So nobody's really heard of him or knows anything about him. So when he comes in, he really takes a liking to India and just apparently has really liked her like her whole life. He's just wanted to be a good uncle and stuff like that. He also has a thing with Nicole Kidman, with Evelyn Stoker. Like, they sort of start to, like, maybe they're gonna, maybe they're not, you know, which I guess, you know, it happens sometimes when your spouse dies and then somebody comes in that looks like them and sounds like them and maybe even acts like them a little bit. You know, it happens. I have friends that their parents, yeah, so it happens, you know, it is what it is. That being said, he starts doing some really messed up stuff. It's not a spoiler at all. Like, he's basically a murderer. And rather than, you know, try to protect her mom and, like, turn him in and things like that, India starts to really just become admired with him and enamored, and just like following along like a little puppy, basically. And like, that's kind of like the movie. Like, that's pretty much what it is. The end of it's a bit confusing. Like, it kind of goes where you wanted it to go, but then it kind of doesn't go where you wanted it to go. I can't really explain the movie, the ending, because the ending is like one of those things where when you're watching the movie, you're not even sure yourself if you want it to go this way or that way. You just know you want it to be big, whichever way it goes. And for me, the ending, like, it wasn't big. And once I saw the way it went, I wished it went the other way. So there's that bit. Now, that being said, I understand that this movie review is extremely confusing and you probably have no idea what the movie is about, or if you should see it. What I will say is, that was done intentionally because this movie if I were to explain something or to tell you plot points, then I literally explain the movie. Because there are very little plot points and points of interest in this movie. This movie is extremely dark and it's extremely confusing. Do not let kids watch this movie either. Not for the blood and the gore, but because there is some sexual stuff in there that, again, you can't explain away. It's pretty obvious what's going on. For me, I didn't like this movie. I didn't care for it at all. I felt like it was kind of boring, in fact. They were trying so hard to make things seem dark and mysterious that it fell flat for me. And then also, they have a habit in this movie, the director needs to be shot. The lighting is just makes no sense at times, because they'll go darker when it's supposed to be like a darker part or a sad part or you know, a flashback or something like that. I think he just likes blue-gray, because he would just go darker for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Also, he had a tendency to, we would watch this and then we'd cut away to this, and then we go back to this, and then we cut away back to this, and then it turns out that this happened 3 days before this, but it looked like the exact same, you know, time frame, which was extremely frustrating and annoying, because you would watch the movie and you're thinking like A, B, and C is happening when really you've been watching D, E, and A, and so you're like, what the frack, you know? And I just thought that that was just, it didn't make sense to me. Now, I'd like to think that Wentworth's treatment was, I'm assuming that there was very little in the treatment. It was just an idea, and it was just this and this and this happened, so you need to fill in how we get there. And so the writers who filled it in, I hope they aren't still working. I really didn't like this movie, and it's really sad too, because it had a lot of promise. When you watch the movie, you can kind of pick out where the important parts were, which I'm assuming were in the treatment, because those are the only parts that actually make sense or interesting. The rest of it is just weird, and I didn't care for it. Now, if you like movies like The Wall, you might like this, but for me, who hated The Wall, I didn't like it. So I don't think I've ever done this, but I got to give this 2 thumbs down. I don't even think I would get this from Redbox at this point. It was that bad. There was really nothing interesting or redeeming about this movie. So yeah, the council has spoken.
Bye, kids.